Smurfs. My holy grail. The gold at the end of my rainbow. The most potent, magical ingredient in the world. Next slide. Imagine the power in 100 of them combined. My plan is simple. Find Smurf Village, capture all the Smurfs, drain them of their magic, and finally, use that magic to become the most powerful wizard in the world! Oh, look at me with hair.
Quiet on the set!
This is Michael Faulkner, and it is showtime at the April 4th, 2017 edition of the Weekly Podioplex, brought to you on the Chronicle Network. This week's birthdays include X-Men First Class Magneto Michael Fassbender, Lily James from Downton Abbey and Cinderella, Candace Cameron Bure from Full House and Fuller House, Teddy Sears from The Flash and 24 Legacy, Billy D. Williams, Lando Calrissian from the Star Wars franchise, John Ratzenberger from Cheers, The Empire Strikes Back, and a ton of Pixar films, martial arts film legend Jackie Chan, and a boatload of Marvel Cinematic Universe alums including Kobe Smulders, Clark Gregg, Robert Downey Jr., Hugo Weaving, Haley Atwell, Paul Rudd, and Michael Rooker. Starting with the box office report, it was a close race for number 1. At number 10 is new release The Zookeeper's Wife, premiering to $3.3 million in 500 theaters. Critics offered up a 59% reception, but audiences were much more receptive, with high marks coming out of studio showings. At number 9 is Chips, slipping 2 from 7th. At 8 is Life, sliding 4 from 4th. In 7th is Get Out, down 1 from 6th. And finishing out this week's bottom 5 is Logan, down 1 from 5th. The top 5 this week begin with Kong Skull Island, down 2 from 3rd with $8.6 million toward a $147.6 million total. In 4th place is Power Rangers, down 2 from 2nd with $14.2 million and a total of $64.8 million. In 3rd place is new release Ghost in the Shell, premiering to $18.7 million. That is well below expectations, and it even comes in behind the comparable Lucy, which also starred Scarlett Johansson and made $43.8 million on opening weekend. Lucy was also an R-rated film, which should have drawn less audience share, but as proven by Lucy, Deadpool, both John Wicks, and Logan, action flicks these days have a way of filling seats on the R rating. Critics gave it a 45% approval, and audiences gave it a B cinema score. Internationally, Ghost in the Shell opened at 2nd in Russia, 3rd in South Korea, and picked up $40.1 million in 50 markets. On this show, I didn't get out to see it this weekend, and I'm not familiar with the property. Denise saw it and was far from impressed. Across our social media circles, reactions have been polarized. It's either love or hate, and there's very little room in the middle. In 2nd is last week's winner, Beauty and the Beast, surrendering the palace with $45.4 million and a total of $393.3 million. Globally, it is just over $875 million. In 1st place this week is Boss Baby, squeaking into the top spot with $50.2 million. That's the 9th largest opening for a DreamWorks animated title, beating How to Train Your Dragon 2 and coming in behind Home, Monsters vs. Aliens, Kung Fu Panda, Madagascar 2 and 3, and Shrek 2, 3, and 4. Boss Baby picked up an A- cinema score from audiences, and those under the age of 18 boosted it to an A+. Critics, not so much. They gave it a 49% approval rating. Let's close out the box office report with the liquids winning in years gone by. 5 years ago in 2012, The Hunger Games took number 1 for a 3rd week with $33.1 million. 10 years ago in 2007, Blades of Glory won the weekend for a 2nd week with $22.5 million. 20 years ago in 1997, Liar Liar was the winner for a 3rd and final week with $18.3 million. 30 years ago in 1987, Police Academy 4 Citizens on Patrol took the title with $8.5 million. and something tells me those audiences experienced some regret shortly afterward. And 40 years ago, in 1977, The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh took the box office crown with $3.2 million, reaching number 1 in its 4th weekend of release. The box office premieres for April 7th start with 2 comedies. This week's headliner is Smurfs, The Lost Village, an animated comedy starring Ariel Winter, Michelle Rodriguez, and Joe Manganiello.
Hey, you're the clumsy one, right? Huh? Feet fast.
I caught it! This isn't good.
Clumsy, give them back their egg!
Okay. I'm really, really sorry, guys!
Over there!
I didn't mean to poach your egg! Wow!
In this fully animated, all-new take on The Smurfs, a mysterious map sets Smurfette and her friends Brainy, Clumsy, and Hefty on an exciting race through the Forbidden Forest, leading to the discovery of one of the biggest secrets in Smurf history. Smurfs, The Lost Village is rated PG. The second title is Going in Style, a crime comedy starring Joey King, Morgan Freeman, and Anne Margaret.
I don't know what's going on in the world anymore.
I have nothing to say for myself.
Look what you did to Cindy. Now she's looking like a Colombian drug mule. Never in all my years has anybody ever walked off with a whole pork loin. What would your mama say?
Go big or go home.
Had to be the brother.
Desperate to pay the bills and come through for their loved ones, 3 lifelong pals risk it all by embarking on a daring bid to knock off the very bank that absconded with their money. Going in Style is rated PG-13. And the last wide release this week is The Case for Christ, a religious drama starring Mike Vogel, Erica Christensen, and Faye Dunaway.
I've spent my entire career as a journalist, uncovering the truth. Until the day my wife presented me with the biggest story of my life. The case for Christ. From that moment on, I set out to prove to her and to the rest of the world that they were wrong. And what happened next changed me forever.
An investigative journalist and self-proclaimed atheist sets out to disprove the existence of God after his wife becomes a Christian. The Case for Christ is rated PG. There are also 9 titles on this week's limited slate, and you can find all of those in the show notes. Next up is a look at the home entertainment slate for the week of April 4th, and it is a shorter slate, but a good one because of this first title. Starting with new release on DVD and Blu-ray, we have Rogue One, a Star Wars story. An action-adventure film starring Felicity Jones, Diego Luna, and Donnie Yen. Jyn Erso, a rebellion soldier and criminal, is about to experience her biggest challenge yet when Mon Mothma sets her out on a mission to steal the plans for the first Death Star. With help from the rebels, a master swordsman, and non-allied forces, Jyn will be in for something bigger than she thinks. Rogue One, a Star Wars story, is rated PG-13. The other title in this list is Office Christmas Party, a comedy starring Jason Bateman, Olivia Munn, and TJ Miller. When his uptight CEO sister threatens to shut down his branch, the branch manager throws an epic Christmas party in order to land a big client and save the day. But the party gets way out of hand. Office Christmas Party is rated R. Swinging by new releases on digital video, there's one title there. That one is Split, a horror thriller starring James McAvoy, Anya Taylor-Joy, and Kim Director. Kevin, a man with 23 different personalities, is compelled to abduct 3 teenage girls. As they are held captive, a final personality, the Beast, begins to emerge. Split is rated PG-13.
Now the world don't move to the beat of just one drum.
Moving right along to TV on DVD and Blu-ray, start things there with Diff'rent Strokes, Season 5 from 1982, starring Conrad Bain, Gary Coleman, and Todd Bridges. Arnold, Willis, and the rest of the Drummonds are back for perhaps the most iconic season of one of your all-time favorite sitcoms. Season 5 brings a slew of notable guest stars, including Janet Jackson, Joey Lawrence, Andrew Dice Clay, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Sherry Belafonte, Garrett Morris, Gordon Jump, Dorothy Hamill, Jamie Gertz, and Nancy Reagan. And one of the most memorable stories to air on 80s television, when Arnold and his friend Dudley encounter a seemingly harmless bicycle shop owner. The second TV title is The Good Wife, the complete series, spanning 2009 to 2016 and starring Juliana Margulies, Chris Noth, and Josh Charles. The Good Wife is a drama starring Juliana Margulies as a wife and mother who boldly assumes full responsibility for her family and re-enters the workforce after her husband's very public sex and political corruption scandal lands him in jail. Pushing aside the betrayal and crushing public humiliation caused by her husband Peter, she starts over by pursuing her original career as a defense attorney. And the third TV title this week is Medium, the complete series, spanning 2005 to 2011 and starring Patricia Arquette, Miguel Sandoval, and Jake Weber. Medium, the hit supernatural crime drama series from Emmy Award-winning executive producer, creator, and director Glenn Gordon Caron, is now available in one complete series set. The popular series stars Emmy Award winner Patricia Arquette as Alison Dubois, a strong-willed mother and devoted wife who attempts to balance family life with solving mysterious crimes using her psychic gifts of hearing the thoughts of those around her and communicating with the dead. I'll wrap up the home entertainment slate with Blu-rays from the past, and this week I have one title. That one is Mr. Deeds Goes to Town, a comedy from 1936 celebrating its 80th anniversary, starring Gary Cooper, Jean Arthur, and George Bancroft. When Vermont poet Longfellow Deeds inherits a fortune from his uncle, he sets off for New York to take over his new business empire. Newspaper editor McQuaid, believing the naive and trusting Deeds to be too good to be true, assigns reporter Babe Bennett to dig up dirt on him. Babe inveigles her way into Deeds' confidence by staging a fainting fit in front of his mansion, but despite her best efforts, finds him to be nothing other than a gentleman. Others, however, are determined to prove that Deeds is not fit for his new fortune, and a court case ensues. I've only seen the Adam Sandler remake, so I'm actually pretty eager to watch this one. I'm pretty sure the only thing that won't have is the feet guy. I love that guy in the Adam Sandler remake. Mr. Deeds Goes to Town is not rated. After this brief break for a bout of shameless podcast cross-promotion, the Weekly Podioplex will continue.
Generation Star Wars is speaking up and sharing its story.
I'm Andrew Leyland.
I'm David Michelini.
I'm Tom Paneris.
I'm Steve Glosson.
I'm Matt Hunsworth.
I'm Scott Gardner.
I'm Ryan Shaw.
I'm Paul Herman.
I'm Jimmy Mack.
I'm Ryder Waldron.
I'm Justin Bulger.
I'm Joseph Tavano.
I'm John Jackson Miller.
I'm Concetta Parker.
I'm Steve Sansweet.
And this
is
my Star Wars story.
Is my Star Wars story.
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 My Star Wars Story, monthly at mystarwarsstory.com and available in the iTunes Store.
And welcome back to the Weekly Podioplex. I'm Denise with your Quick Flicks. First up on Quick Flicks, Joss Whedon is directing the Batgirl movie. Babs is flying solo, y'all, and according to her Facebook page, Gail Simone is pretty stoked. Whedon is nearing a deal to write, direct, and produce an untitled Batgirl movie for Warner Brothers as part of the DC Extended Universe. According to Variety, no other producers are currently attached. The new project originated in the past month following a meeting between Whedon, President and Chief Content Officer Toby Emmerich, John Berg, and Jeff Johns. The movie project will be based on the Batgirl story that was first unveiled in DC Comics in 1967 when Barbara Gordon, the daughter of Gotham City Police Commissioner James Gordon, appeared as the character in the $1 Million debut of Batgirl by writer Gardner Fox and artist Carmine Infantino. The Batgirl project will be the second movie from DC Films to star a female lead after Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman opening June 2nd. Babs is one of my favorite female superheroes. I love her to death, and I hope DC doesn't screw this one up like they did with the animated Killing Joke. And no, we're not going to talk about it. I still have feelings on it. Over in Marvel news, Sony news, because rights holders issues that are still ongoing. Sony announced that Neighbors and Baywatch star Zac Efron has been cast for the lead role of Eddie Brock in the Venom spin-off movie. Now, Venom has been languishing in production hell for several years following the collapse of the studio's planned Spider-Man shared universe, which was set to include the Venom Project, Amazing Spider-Man sequels, and a Sinister Six team-up movie. Originally, Transformers and Star Trek writer Alex Kurtzman was attached to help Venom with Drew Goddard in charge of Sinister Six. That did not happen. Nevertheless, reports suggested the studio might relaunch Venom as a standalone property, separate from the MCU continuity their new Spider-Man would share. But producers remain reluctant to clarify the speculation, likely because they wanted to see how Tom Holland's Spider-Man would take with audiences. Now, with Civil War behind them and a strong buzz for Spider-Man Homecoming, not to mention Infinity War, Sony is showing renewed confidence, and now we're getting a Venom movie with Jumanji reboot writers Scott Rosenberg and Jeff Pinker penning the script and a fall 2018 release date that is looking more and more like reality and less like a symbolic placeholder. I'm not sure how to feel about this. And really, it's less about Zac Efron as an actor, because I'm sure he's chomping at the bit to be less of a pretty boy actor cast for how he looks, more of an actor who can show that he has some depth to his abilities. But because the Venom story altogether. Granted, it's packed with symbolism, but like Jean Grey's Dark Phoenix, it's been done to death and with varying degrees of success. I guess we'll see which direction they take it in when footage starts leaking. Over in Star Wars news, Rogue One is getting a sequel? What? Rogue One represented something of a risk. A lot of risk. It was the first movie to take place outside the Skywalker family saga, testing the waters as a standalone anthology movie within the same universe. It worked despite its many reshoots giving audiences an initial bad taste. Now, with audiences meeting and growing attached to new characters, the kind of success the movie enjoyed would warrant the development of a follow-up or two. However, Rogue One did not have your typical Hollywood ending. At least that's what we thought. In a late Friday press announcement, Disney made clear their intention to move forward with a currently untitled Rogue One sequel. Please God, let the title be Rogue 2. With a premiere date to be determined later. They said in their announcement, "The rebellion continues. StarWars.com is pleased to announce that the development has begun on a Rogue One sequel. The Star Wars story team isn't ready to share exactly what they have in store or when the Rogue One sequel will arrive in theaters, but fans attending Star Wars Celebration 2017 might keep their eyes peeled for an early tease. But we can confirm that Felicity Jones and Diego Luna will reprise their roles as Jyn Erso and Cassian Andor. The untitled Rogue One sequel joins an exciting slate of new adventures in the galaxy far, far away, coming to fans in the coming years. We can't wait to share more info with you." But they died. They died. There is no getting around that. The planet was blowing up because test run of the Death Star, and there was the whole tying in with the New Hope thing at the end, and the dying. Ain't nobody coming back from that, guys. Even K2SO died. I saw it. It was right there. He died. The whole thing, it was the dying. Everybody died. All of it dying. Honestly, the whole thing smells like a money grab, and I, for one, do not appreciate it. Wait. Hold the phone. Hold the phone, because don't get me wrong, this is something Disney would do. I remember the years of Disney and their stupid, the direct-to-DVD sequels. I remember those years. So hold on. And given that today of all days, hold on a minute. Okay, there it is. False alarm. They lied to us. Well played, Screen Rant. Well played. April Fools, everybody. Disney is not doing the thing that they've always done, and we're not getting a Rogue One sequel because, I mean, it doesn't make any sense. You know it's too good to be true when it's on the internet. Well played, Disney. Well played. And finally, The Real Ghostbusters is now on Netflix. Yay! The Real Ghostbusters is now on Netflix. My childhood. Oh my god, my childhood. Go out and watch all 140 episode goodness right now. Screw Iron Fist. Go watch Ghostbusters. I plan on doing so right after Voltron, the Legendary Defender, because my childhood. And that's it for this week's Quick Flicks. I'll see you guys next time on the Weekly Podioplex.
Thank you, Denise. And here we are once again at the end of a new edition of the Weekly Podioplex. If you want to discuss anything you heard on this week's edition, please take a moment to get in touch. You can surf on over to the brand new homepage at chronicrift.com and leave an audio message right there on the website using your microphone. Or you can write to weeklypodioplex@gmail.com. Of course, you can still tweet us on Twitter. The Chronic Rift is chronic_rift. The Weekly Podioplex is Weekly Podioplex. Denise is Riley James Keith. And I am Womprat99, like the creature Luke with Bullseye in his T16 in Beggar's Canyon. You can give the Chronic Rift a thumbs up on Stitcher Radio, leave us a 5-star review on iTunes, and you can find the Weekly Podioplex and the Chronic Rift on Facebook and Google+. Take a moment, stop on by, and see what other shows the Chronic Rift Network has to offer. We have Cyborgs, a Bionic podcast, the Batcave podcast, the OSI Files podcast, the G2V podcast, Generations Geek, Present the Transcription feature, the Dan and Travis Show, the Sci-Fi Diner podcast, the Home Game Show Version podcast, and so much more. And you know what? If you have a Roku player, you can time travel and find us there on the Chronic Rift's Roku channel, where you can find episodes of the Chronic Rift's adventures in the 1990s. It was a public access television show on the New York City airwaves. Check us out and find the culture in pop culture. If you're interested in more of my adventures, take a quick trip to my blog, Creative Criticality, where I'm watching every episode of Doctor Who for the first time from the very beginning of the franchise and reviewing those stories in the Timestamps Project. The blog is coming up on the end of the 17th season, beginning the 18th and final season with the adventures of the 4th Doctor and the Time Lady Romana, and those reviews can be found at creativecriticality.wordpress.com. You can also find Creative Criticality on Facebook. Denise can also be found on the internet at Accessories Not Included, where she talks about her writing, reviews books, and offers her services as a cover designer. Check her out at accessoriesnotincluded.com. If you decide to pick up any of this week's new releases, why not do it through our Amazon store? You get the newest entertainment at Amazon's low prices and high-quality service, and each purchase you make at that store supports the Chronic Rift Network. Your support keeps us on the air, and we appreciate your consideration. Look for the links to our best bets and the network store in our show notes, or click the Amazon box on the website. The Weekly Podioplex is a Lucky Shot production and is produced by John S. Drew. On behalf of Denise and John, this is Michael Faulkner. Thanks for listening. Until next time, there are adventures and drama, comedy and action, worlds to explore in the depths of film. Get some popcorn, find your favorite seat, and I'll see you at the theater.